Hi, everyone. Dom Famularo here. This is incredible. We are back. Sabian Education Network for Sabian Symbols. I am so honored to be a part of doing these kinds of introductions and really literally delivering these great players to the world, because there are so many great players out there who are dedicated, who are hardworking, and are great drummers and educators that Sabian Education Network connects them all. Joe Bergamini is the manager of the site, and he makes this all happen and organizes all of this here. And the fact that Sabian Symbols has an education program, which is the best drumming education program within the entire industry. If you can imagine, we have thousands of teachers that are involved. We get them involved in many ways. And this is one of the outlets that we have to bring many educators to the spotlight. Today, I've got an incredible drummer he plays with Sam Morrison's band. He's been with them for many years. He's got over 60 students that he teaches. He's in Southern California. I got to bring him on here. Would you please, everybody, welcome absolutely Bart Robley.
I'm going to be on Dom's show. I got to practice, man. I don't have time right now.
Bart, great to see you, man. Thanks so much for joining me.
Oh, Dom, thank you so much for having me. You know what? Before we get started on anything, I got to say this. I'll tell you a quick story. And in 2015, I got signed as an artist to Sabian. Yeah. And I went up to Burbank to pick up my cymbals from our friend Chris Stanky. Right. And I told him I taught, and he's like, "Oh, you got to meet, Joe Bergamini." Well, I knew Joe from Sabian, and he told me you were involved, and you and I had a relationship because I'd taken some lessons with you and stuff. Yeah. And so I was all in. And I just want to say thank you for not only having me on the show, but you and Joe are amazing. And what you've done not only for educators, but for drummers worldwide is phenomenal. And so thank you. Thank you for having me on the show. First one of 2022. I'm honored. This is fantastic. This is huge.
Absolutely, Bart. Well, I'm very impressed with what you're doing. And I travel the world. For Sabian, I've traveled to over 60 countries, performing in festivals and clinics. And it's been an amazing journey. And although we've slowed down with the pandemic, right, the challenges of what has happened, but I have been equally as busy online teaching globally to students in over 60 countries. So nothing really has slowed down this communication that drummers have, especially with the Sabian Education Network. We've got this network of great creative artists that are a part of it. Now, I got to go back. You have been playing for years. I mean, with the Sam Morrison band, it's just so fantastic with what you guys continue to do when you're traveling. Tell me about now the beginning of what got you involved in drumming, and where did it all start for you?
Man, you know what? My mom was the epitome of an Elvis fan. She was an amazing woman, and she loved Elvis, right? So she always had Elvis playing. So it's always there in my earliest memories. And she played Elvis so much that I thought if you wanted to listen to music, you either listened to Elvis Presley, or you listen to the lady that played the out-of-tune piano in the back of the church. That's where you got music from. And so I grew up listening to that. And I was about 5 years old, and my mom took me to see Elvis. That was my first concert. I was 5 years old. And so my mom took me to see Elvis, and it was amazing. I remember he had a comedian that opened the show. And then after the comedian came out, the Sweet Inspirations and Elvis's band, and they played like a lot of Motown hits and the hits of the day. I was so young, I don't remember. But then Elvis came out, and it was like a bomb went off. And I didn't know what was happening. I just knew it was really cool, and I wanted to do that. Well, shortly after that, there was a famous concert, Elvis Aloha from Hawaii. And there was a camera right behind Ronnie Tutt's drum set. And he had long hair and a beard, and he's playing this big blue sparkle Ludwig kit. And I was just mesmerized. I remember watching his hi-hat, and I remember watching it and thinking, is that automatic, or is he doing that? What is that? And I knew right away that that's what I wanted to do. So Elvis is really where it all started.
It's pretty powerful. Ronnie Tutt, I had the chance of interviewing him for the Sessions panel, and
I watched it.
he talked about his tap dancing skills. So those tap dancing skills he applied to the hi-hat to have that constant eighth note hi-hat going along. A very, very talented musician, and just his stories are just incredible. But he's influenced a lot of people. That was great that you started there with Ronnie.
Yeah, matter of fact, I should have taken it down to show him, but right there, up in the corner, I have a autographed classic drummer. I used to write for Classic Drummer magazine when they were around as a columnist, and he autographed. I never met him. He autographed that, and Billy Jeanson got me a copy of it. You know Billy,
Yeah,
and he sent me a copy of that, so I have it framed up there. Out of all the drummers that I've met in my life, I never got to meet Ronnie, and I never got to meet DJ Fontana. But
two great legends in our industry.
Right,
Just started playing and creating a field that really helped change the music industry. I mean, what Elvis did was he changed the industry, but it was the musicians that he had behind him that really were pushing the field for what Elvis wanted. Elvis surrounded himself with some great, great musicians.
Oh, he did. And you listen to the early Elvis stuff. And I mean, what was before Elvis? It was jazz and big band. So DJ was, all those guys were influenced by jazz. I mean, even going forward into, the later 60s, Bonham and those guys, they were all influenced by the jazz players that came before them. So the music had a certain swing to it. And maybe it didn't really full on ding, daga, ding, daga, ding, daga, ding swing, but it had a swagger. It had a vibe. It was somewhere in no man's land, and it was priceless, just absolutely priceless.
So when did you get your first drum set? When did you finally, feel like you were starting to step into the instrument?
Well, I bugged my parents so much that my dad made me a drum set out of paint cans, right? And I just made a bunch of noise on that. And I didn't get a drum set for a while. What ended up happening was my mom, like, a lot of parents do, they got me a practice pad, and it wasn't like like I've got, where did I put it? Right here. I got this cool, Gretsch practice pad. It was one of those ones that was two pieces of wood, and they kind of like were in an angle with and a pair of sticks. And I beat on that. And I took lessons at a place called Crescendo Music in Littleton, Colorado, with a gentleman by the name of Rob Heskett. You might know Rob, Don. He worked for HHS, and he also worked for Command.
Yeah, I've met him several times, and I knew that store absolutely.
Yeah, and Don, and so that's where I took lessons. And I think probably a couple years in, Rob finally said to me, my mom, he goes, Miss Robley, I think Bart's ready for a snare drum. So I got a snare drum. And then I saved up every penny I had. And this was back in my day. We used to have a piece of paper and it had news in it. We had a newspaper, and it had some, I went through the classifieds, and I found a 5-piece drum set. I couldn't have a 4. I had to have a 5-piece kit. Found this blue 5-piece kit, and it had a couple of cymbals and a hat. And I bought it, and I went home and put it in my bedroom and just beat that thing like it owed me money for years.
That's true dedication for sure. So you played the kit, you took some lessons. In the early lessons, what were you learning in the lessons early on?
I was learning just stick control. And matter of fact, a plug for Drummers Education Connection, as you know about, we had Rob on there, right? And he doesn't remember this. He says he doesn't remember this, but he wanted me to play traditional grip, and I wanted to play, match grip. So I fought him on it, but we worked on doubles and singles, and just the same thing that everybody does, reading music, whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, eighth notes. We worked out a stick control, went into, Ted Reed's book, Syncopation. And it's funny because those two books, right? When you talk about books, Syncopation, Ted Reed's book, and the George Lawrence Stone book, two of the best-selling drum books ever. They have been in my life since that time. I mean, I've always, those books are always somewhere within my reach. And I have this. I want to show this. This is something that I got at one of your clinics at NAMM. George's granddaughters were there, and they autographed this for me, and so I don't even use this one anymore. So it hangs in a frame over here, but I wanted to show
Oh,
that to
it's
you.
so great that you had that.
Yeah.
Barbara Stone Haynes, George Lawrence Stone's grandchildren, they run the business now. George Lawrence Stone died in the mid 60s, and his George Lawrence Stone's children all passed away just around the year 2000. So his grandchildren run the business, and not only is it stick control, but Acting to Rebounds, and they've got several other books that they're putting up in the Stone Percussion catalog. So it's great that you hear those books you started with there, and you're still incorporating those books in your playing.
Oh, I still incorporate them in my practice. I mean, I think there isn't a day goes by that I don't, like, when I'm on the road, from memory, run the first column, and sit there and just run the column down, and then go into whatever else it is that I'm going to do to warm up with or whatever. I've got this little, it's a Gibraltar cymbal stand clamp arm thing, and a little 6-inch pad, and it just lives in my suitcase. And so when I'm on the road, I always find a leg on a chair or something and put it on there and put the pad on there. I sit in the room, and if I'm in the room by myself, it doesn't matter. And I room with the keyboard player if we room together, so I drive him nuts with playing through Paradiddle Johnny or Mr. Rudiments or something that's driving me nuts and I'm trying to get better at.
So what was it like now? You're starting to understand the instrument. Did you start jamming with other musicians? Did you start kind of getting into that world where you started to play music live?
Yeah, I was playing on, I played in all the school bands, concert band, symphonic band, jazz band. I played in the orchestra for plays, stuff like that. And then, of course, birds of a feather. And I always had a friend that played guitar, or somebody played bass or sang. And so we'd put little bands together, and we'd start jamming and playing, just whenever there was like a school talent show. I played in this band in high school, and it was a double drum thing. My buddy Rod Pacheco played drums, and there was a whole bunch of guys in the band, and this one guy, Matt Mikowski, and his nickname was Ski, Mikowski. So and he was a guitar player and singer, and we decided that we wanted to do a 50s thing. So we called it Ski in the Ketones. And I think we, at a school talent show, I think we played Jailhouse Rock, and then Back in the USSR. And incidentally, the reason we did that, because there was another band that we went to high school with, and at the time they were called TJ and the Twist. I think that's what they were called, and they went on to be Big Head Todd and the Monsters. You know Brian Nevin?
Yes.
Yeah, they were a high school. I went to high school with them. They were a year ahead of me, and Brian. Oh my God, that guy could. I mean, he's still such an amazing player. And I remember being a kid, and just like, he was such a monster player. And so I went to high school with them, and they were called Ski and the Ketones, or we were Ski and the Ketones, and they were TJ and the Twist, and they were way cooler than us, but we wanted to be like them. So we did a 50s thing. I remember watching Brian play the first time I ever heard Devil with the Blue Dress. Devil with the Blue Dress, and Brian just tore it up. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing.
So now you're having fun, you're meeting different musicians.
Mm-hmm.
Where did it go from there? How did the professionalism, because here you are, you're a full-time musician. Yeah. You're out touring with Sam Morrison. You're teaching intense students. You've got a studio in your home there that you're teaching out of. You're doing online lessons. You're doing in-person lessons. You are fully jammed into this education performance mentality of being drums.
Right.
When did you commit to that level of professionalism?
In the 1980s, after I graduated high school, I knew that that's what I wanted to do. And I was playing around town. And the main thing that I knew about the fact that I wanted to be a professional musician was this. And I think anybody that's out there that's a young musician that might be watching this, I knew one thing, and I knew that I had to get better. It wasn't about finding the right band or the right musicians. I mean, it's always about that, but I had to be better. I had to be a better drummer. And to this day, I still kind of come at it from that point. So anyway, I started playing with bands around the Denver area. And at the time, Denver has an amazing music scene now. I mean, with the pandemic, everything's changed since the pandemic, but they have a great music scene in Denver. And when I was there, it wasn't so much. There was a couple of places to play. There's a place called Bangles Nightclub. There was a place where they rented out and had concerts called the Gothic Theater. There was a few places, but there wasn't a lot. And I knew, and I was really tired of the cold. I know you're back east and you're in the cold, but I just wanted to get somewhere warm. So I packed up everything that I owned in this old Datsun station wagon, and I took off across. I went up over the Rockies through Utah, and drove through the desert and landed here in Southern California. And so I made that commitment then. And the thing is, I don't know. I think I was just too. I don't know if I was too dumb or I was just brave. One or the other. But like now, look, Dom, I won't go to the grocery store without my cell phone, and it's a block away. But I took off across the desert, and what I owned, if it didn't fit in the car, it didn't go with me.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's kind of where it started. And once I got here, I just knew I had to get better. So I just started going to work, and I played in numerous bands around town, and then I landed with Sam.
But that's a level of commitment that I want everyone to understand, that that's really what it takes. It takes that level of commitment. Now, just if you can, I want you to show the picture of your old Colorado house.
Yeah. So this is the house that I grew up in. Okay. See that?
Yeah.
And right there, that window, I'm backwards, that window right there, that's my bedroom window. And right here in the corner is where my drum set was at. Now, the reason I had that picture out, I took that out of a frame over here to show Dom, anybody listening, when I first got on the show a couple weeks ago, my niece was out here. My sister adopted these two beautiful little girls, and my sister and my niece came out, and she loved the house. And it's a really nice, it's a brand new house we just moved into. I just built this studio. We just moved into the house. We've been here since August last year, so we haven't even been here a year. And I was showing that picture to my niece, and I was like, I told her, I said, look, sweetie, anything that you want to do in life, you can do. You just have to commit to it. And then I told her, I said, the one thing that is going to happen, you are going to hit hard times. Sometimes you might go straight into the dirt. Things are going to go bad, but you get up, you dust yourself off, and you get back at it. And I tried to let her know that, you can do anything that you want. And I've been able to do it. And I sit around sometimes, like I walk through the house, I'm like, I can't believe this belongs to my wife and I, and I have to give credit there. Wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here. And she, her and I have this beautiful home, and I make a living with a pair of sticks. So I'm very happy about that. But yeah, that's the house. That's the house right there.
That is amazing. So when I look at that house, just, you're in the middle of nowhere.
Literally. Yeah. I grew up on a cattle ranch outside of Littleton, in Littleton, Colorado. I went to Columbine High School, incidentally. I graduated from Columbine High School, and as did Brian. I mentioned him a minute ago, Big Head Todd and the Monsters. They went to Columbine High School. But yeah, that's where I grew up. This was in the foothills. My great grandfather homesteaded this ranch, and this little mountain range that you see right there in front of the house, they used to call that the hogback. And our house literally like butted up to the Rockies. It was like, you came out of the Denver Basin over the hogback in this little valley, and the ranch was right up against the Rockies. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Is that ranch still in the family?
No, it's not. It was that went away a number of years ago. So that is a little bit of a heartbreak, because like I can't go back home and visit. I can go there and see it, but the house isn't there. Yeah.
But wait a minute. So here you are now. You're playing with these different bands. You're in Southern California. What was it like making the trip out and making the commitment to go to California and see other opportunities of work?
Right. Well, again, here I'll show it again so you can see there. That's where I grew up. And then I landed in Garden Grove, California on a Thursday night at 5 p.m. And I thought I had landed on Mars. I mean, there were people everywhere. And it was just it was crazy, and I had a guy that was in a band, and that he wanted me to come out and play with him. He and I had previously played together in Colorado, and he needed a drummer. Their drummer had left, so they were void of a drummer. So that's kind of how I got that's kind of how I made the commitment to move out here, because I knew I was going to be in a band. Um, so I got out here, and I remember the first thing that really hit me was once I kind of started going around and watching the bands play and going to different clubs and venues and stuff. Um, at first I was hit with, well, how am I going to break into this world? How is this going to happen? And it was just, it was kind of the same thing, you just kind of settle back into, well, I just got to go to work. I've just got to, there's nothing that I can do other than work. So what did I do? Well, I got my practice pad, and I got stick control, and I got a couple of these guys, and I just started doing the work. And I'm a firm believer that if you do the work and if you blow some love into it, you don't know where it's going to take you. I mean, everybody that moved to LA in the 80s had dreams of, well, I'm going to play Gazzarri's tonight, and 6 months from now, I'm going to own one of those mansions up there, and I'm going to be a millionaire. And that's fine, but that and $2 will get you, really bad coffee. So I think that you got to love the instrument first. You've got to really love what it is that you're doing, and again, you put in the work, you put some love into it, and you just keep being like Kenny Arnoff says, just be the running back, just keep hitting the line, because pretty soon those guys are going to fall down. You just got to be you got to be meaner and badder than those dudes on the line. Yeah.
Well, that's for sure what you've proven yourself. We've got a couple of people that are logging in. I've got this here from Sabian. Bart, great to have you here. You've been a longtime member of the Sabian family. Thank you. So the appreciation comes from all these different people that are following on here too. We've got people from all around the world, and actually a dear friend of mine, I know yours, Andy Weiss, is joining us here.
Yeah, Andy.
Andy is the best. Andy is a historian in the drumming industry. He was very good friends with Louis Belson and has some great information about Louis. Andy, thanks so much for joining in. We've got Artem Mikor, who is a wonderful drum educator and player from Moscow.
I've always wanted to go to Moscow.
Moscow. It's a beautiful city, and Artemy is just fantastic with his wife Dasha, who's also a drummer. So it's just great to see. We also have. Let me go back over here. We have here is Claude Hoffman, is a wonderful player and educator in Belgium. So
I think I've met Claude before. Maybe I have.
You may have at NAMM somewhere along the way. He comes out and visits the NAMM. So it's just amazing to see all these different people that are joining us. So the concept of being able to work hard and persevere, this obviously is a winning combination for you, because you have kept this going on, but you've also been able to maintain this through all of this intensity. So now just talk about, how did you hook up with Sam Morrison?
Okay, so I was at a point in my life, my wife and I just bought our first house in Fullerton, and we bought the house because we found the house, I should say, because I had gone over to Sam's house to get an old demo tape, a cassette tape. It was on a little cassette we used to listen. Anyway, I got a cassette from him because he wanted me to sub for his band. That's how we found our first house. I think everybody has that the come to a realization moment, right? And that is that, okay, am I going to be able to do this, or is this just going to be a great passion for me for the rest of my life? And I had been in a few bands, and there'd been struggles, as there are. And I just bought my first house, and I was in the garage, and I was kind of hanging out and, putting stuff away. And I just said a prayer. I'm like, God, if I'm supposed to do this, give me a sign. If I'm supposed to play music, or if I'm supposed to do something else. Because at the time I wasn't making a living at it. I was working a day job, and I had a great day job in the music industry, not drumming industry, but in the music industry, and great people. And anyway, so Sam calls me up, and I had subbed a couple of gigs shortly after that day. Like it was like within a couple of days, he calls me up. He goes, "Hey, look, my drummer just left and my guitar player just left. I got a guitar player, but I need a drummer. We leave for Europe in a week, and the gig's yours if you want it." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm in." And so we did one more local show, and then we were on a train or on a plane to Frankfurt, and landed in Frankfurt, Germany, and played all through the Balkans. We played in Hungary, Croatia, Bosnia, Macedonia, Kosovo, all through the Balkans there, and it was an amazing experience. And I've been with them ever since. And that was in 2000, I think.
So you join the band, and what's amazing is that when you mentioned about traveling and seeing the world, this is something which I can absolutely relate to. Before the pandemic, I was traveling to 10 countries a year, and just more than once, and the traveling was just so incredible. So how has that changed now with the pandemic? How have you balanced non-traveling with that?
Well, what happened is when the pandemic hit, we were that well, so yeah, 2019, 2020, everything hit, and we were booked solid. We were really busy, and so everything shut down. We had just got home from Laughlin. We had played in Laughlin, and we were doing a gig at a casino out here. And we were standing at this casino. You go up through the loading dock through a freight elevator, and the bass player says to me, he goes, "You know what? I think this is all going to come crashing down, and we're not going to do any more gigs." And I was like, "Dude, what are you talking about? We're booked solid. This is going to be some silly thing. It'll pass in a week." Well, sure enough, the next morning after that gig, it got shut down, and we had, we went from all these gigs, and they started dwindling to nothing. Luckily, like you, and because of your help, Don, quite honestly, I'd been teaching online for quite a while, not like I am now, but I was teaching online. And so the music store, I have my studio, like everything closed their doors. So I just got in touch with all my students, and I said, "Hey, look, let's just try Skype or Zoom." And the students, the older students that didn't want to do it, they were a little bit reluctant. I said, "Look, let's just try a month. Let's just see, or a lesson, and see if it works." Well, sure enough, everybody was on board, and we switched over. Now, what I realized right away was I had to up my game as a teacher. And so here, I'm going to try this. We use on Drummers Education Connection, we use StreamYard too, so I should be able to do this. So I upped my game, and what I mean by that was the camera angles. This camera, you're just going to see some black. Oh no, that's the overhead cam. So there's a drum set. And then here is this is the corner one. Yeah, I think here. Yeah, that's where I sit. And looks better when I'm not there, doesn't it? And then here's the foot cam. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. So and then here's back to me.
Nice.
So I upped my game as far as the camera angles and what I could do for teaching, and I could show the student. And then through Sabian Education Network, we had, if Joe did like a drummer hang, you were there for like 5 seconds, because as usual, you had a student, and you got out of there, you came in, said hi, and poof. And I remember, I think you were off to Belgium. I think you said, "I got students in Belgium, I gotta go." So you came in and said hi for a minute. But I met Jim Toscano, and I haven't taken a lesson with Jim, but man, salt of the earth guy. And watching him, I was like, well, I got to up my game. And so I'm nowhere near as hip as Jim is, man, but he's got that stuff down. But I kind of did that, and lo and behold, all my students that stayed with me, they're like, "You know what? I don't have to fight LA traffic anymore. I don't have to spend gas money. I can see your hands better and your feet better than an in-person lesson, because the camera's right there."
Yeah.
So we just kind of kept it going that way, and again, like you and I talked about a little bit before the interview started, when we first got online, we're chatting. Yeah, students all over the place, I mean, they've sought me out, and a lot of students have sought me out because they saw the band or heard a record or whatever. But yeah, it's grown great. It's gone very well. Gone very well.
Well, this is why I want everyone to see your website, bartrobley.com, and go by there and inquire about lessons and sessions, and really kind of step into the world of what Bart is doing, because he's got a great setup. And this setup, as I have in my studio, I've been teaching this way online for over 20 years. It's been before the pandemic hit and nothing changed. I was able to just move everybody. But when you talk about the advantages, think about it. Students not driving to get into traffic or even driving a long distance to get to you. So that's time that they save to and from the lesson. That gives them more time to practice.
Right.
Plus, you get to see the students on their own kit. So they're playing in their own, arena of what they're comfortable with. So
Right.
they can play better, as opposed to playing on a drum kit in my studio or in your studio, where they have to adjust it and they might not be totally comfortable. So
Right.
there are advantages there. There are advantages in the fact that they have the close-up, like you said, foot cam overhead. This is like under the microscope. They can study.
Oh, they're right there. They're right there.
Absolutely.
You can literally go, okay, look, your foot right there. It's a 3-point fulcrum. Dave Weckel right there. And right, totally. And you know what else, Dom, is, hey, your snare drum's a little funky. Let's grab your key. Let's get that happening a little more. Let's get let's tweak that in. And so yeah, you're able to help the student with that a lot.
You throw on top of that, specifically with Zoom, they can record the session.
Yep.
I give them permission to record. Bart, they record the lesson. Any questions they have to go back from that lesson, they go back to the recorded lesson. I mean, I used to have a DVD player in my room, in my studio. And when a student came in, I would take a rewritable DVD, film them, and then do the session, and then give them the rewritable DVD and say, bring it back next session, and keep on adding to it. And I had students that had a stack of DVDs from our lessons. Now, with the advent of the way the internet is, we can really move a lot faster through the education market.
Oh yeah, I remember you doing that. I remember you talking about that at one of your. It was up at MI in Hollywood. You were talking about that.
And it's amazing how all of this has evolved. But I think what's impressive of what you're doing, Bart, is that you've stayed relevant. You've stayed relevant to what's happening. You've stayed relevant with new books that are coming out. You're staying on top of what's happening. You're not allowing yourself to fall into sometimes that difficult place where people stop learning. They've been teaching the same way for the past 10, 15, 20 years.
Right.
And they've lost that enthusiasm of new books and new ideas to influx into their playing. You've kept on the cutting edge.
Well, and Dom, a couple of things too that are really great. And Joe chimed in. He said, "Bart, thanks for being here and being part of SEN." And Joe, thank you. And John, thank you. I said that at the beginning. Joe is, man, what a sweetheart of a guy. And my God, can that guy play the drums or what?
Absolutely.
Holy crap. I was watching him on a video the other day, and I was like, oh man, I'll take my bass drum, put it on its side, put a flower on it now. Yeah, I'm done. Call Joe. Anyway, one of the things that that on my what I did on my end of things too was the sound a little bit. So this studio is a recording studio and a teaching studio. I'm recording records out of here and stuff. On the teaching kit, for teaching, what I do is I have 4 mics set up. So I have this mic, and I'm just going through a little mixing console and then going into a single channel Focusrite, honestly. But I have the drums mic'd up. These mics that you see up here, there's 3 of them. 2 of them are for recording. The one in the center is for the kit. I got a kick drum mic and a snare drum mic. I don't know if this will come through, but you can kind of hear the drums a little bit, and so they sound good. And I think what that does too, back to what I said a minute ago, I think the students, for me at least, are like, oh wow, your snare drum sounds really good. How do you tune it like that? And I think that's one of the things that I really think is relevant, because think about it. if you're taking a guitar lesson and you're learning guitar, what's the first thing that students do when they walk into their studio? They put on their guitar, they bring, oh, got to tune it up, right? And I think a lot of times well, in your studio, I mean, they walk in, they play those beautiful Mapex drums, those great Sabian cymbals, and they sound amazing. But some studios, they got an electronic kit or maybe a mesh head kit or a kit to just beat the heck, and they don't really, we don't talk about it sometimes. And so I think this really has opened that up a lot. I really do.
It really is great because the fact that these studios are being able to be delivered to these drummers around the world. So what's happening is that with this pandemic, I've been teaching to over 60 countries. I've got students from all around the world, and I've been doing this for 20 plus years. What's amazing now is because of the pandemic, you're opening up students all around the world. They're coming in, they're zooming in. So you're reaching a much wider market of the world. This is huge.
Oh, completely. And I don't want to sit here and wow, the pandemic was such a good. No, the pandemic was horrible. I caught COVID. Our first gig back this year. As a matter of fact, the casino I was talking about that we played when the bass player said, "Hey, we're going to shut down." It was that casino, and I'm really careful. Went up the freight elevator, backline kit. So I sat down, tweaked it in, went back to the green room. Went out, did the first show, went back to the green room, had dinner, went out, did the second show, got in the freight elevator, went home. Didn't talk to it, just kind of, tried to do my thing. And 2 days later, the keyboard player and myself both had it. So, it's a bad thing. I'm not, you don't want it, but it's made us rethink things. It's made us, okay, necessity is the mother of invention, right? So how do I make this work? I've got to work. How do I make it work? And it's kind of turned not only lemons into lemonade, but it's turned it into lemonade and lemon meringue pie and lemon cookies and lemon everything because man, the drummers are doing great, and Stanky told me that. Chris Stanky, I went up and got some cymbals in Burbank and he said, the teachers are you guys are doing great work, man. You guys are doing great work, just killing it right now. So yeah.
And just a little, Christian Stanky, who was a phenomenal drummer himself.
Oh yeah.
The artist relations manager for Sabian, has an office out in California, and he's just he's worked with everyone. He's worked closely with Neil Peart and all these Chad Smith and all these great drummers. And he understands the cymbal market for sure and what it is. Let's talk about the balance of family and music. Mm-hmm. How do you balance, having a relationship with keeping that going and then having the traveling and the music? How have you made that work, Bart?
I think a big part of it, especially, and I'll say this, in the last 3 years, my wife and I decided to buy this house, sell our old house, and move in here and start anew. Right. And I think what I try to do, and as I keep my mornings pretty free. And because if I'm not on the road, then I'm here at the house and we've got this beautiful kitchen and we'll make breakfast together and just kind of hang out. We've got a great, nice little, clubhouse here with a gym and a pool and beautiful stuff. So sometimes we'll go up there, we go for walks and just kind of hang out. So I spend my time like that in the mornings, or try to. There are times though, however, I've got to do the business end of things for my teaching and I've got to practice. So I'll do that in the mornings as well. But I try to spend a lot of time with her when I can, and then when I'm home from the road, and when I'm not teaching, I'm all in. So like as soon as I'm done teaching at night, this guy right here just stays right there. All right, stays right there, and then I go out, we talk a little bit, and then I put it in the bedroom, the phone, in case somebody needs to get in touch with me. But I try to be there with her. We go for walks, hold hands, just do all that kind of stuff. And then when I'm on the road, we talk all the time. And what's really cool, with video chat now, you can talk and see each other and whatnot. We had a run last year when things kind of started loosening up, and we were out for 2 weeks. And so we would always have video chats. And then the teaching thing, I also taught from the road because, when you're on the road, you're not always working. You don't have a gig every night. So I would teach from the road. I just set up a Zoom thing on my tablet, a little practice pad. And then I would chime in with her. Hey, how's it going, babe? What's going on? And we'd talk on the video chat and stuff like that on while I'm on the road. So that's how I work it. And like I said, just trying to be all in, you know what I mean? When you're there, being connected with that person,
Well, that really is great to see that you are working towards the balance of communication, which is going to be the key to make it all work.
Oh yeah, completely. And that's one of the reasons why we wanted to, kind of move into a new place and stuff is I don't think it's ever too late for anybody to change their lives, right? And if you're having a hard time with stuff, you're going to get out of something what you put into it. You just are. And so you put 110% in and you're going to get 110% out. And it may be slow going. I mean, look, everything comes back to drums, doesn't it, Dom? I've had these guys around forever, and I still every day I go right, left, right, left, right, left, left. Man, I screwed it up. Right, left, right, left, right. I mean, right. I do it every day, and but it has reaped some rewards. You work at it, and yeah. And I think if you apply that to life, you're going to be good.
Well, good for you, Bart. That really is great advice. Let's talk about some of the Sabian cymbals that you have. I know you've been with them for a while, and I remember when you have first joined the team, and you're out playing, and you're using the cymbals, and you're working them hard. So talk about some of the setup that you have and some of the cymbals that you use in that setup.
Perfect. So this kit here, I'll show you. Let's do this. I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to pretend that I'm Jim Toscano for a minute. And I'm going to switch my cameras around. If Jim's watching this, he's probably going, "You're no Jim Toscano, Robley."
Jim is the best.
Oh, Jim's awesome, man. Jim's the best. Okay, so right here, this is a 17-inch Evolution. I think Weckel cymbals are just the best sounding cymbals there are. I love those things. This is an old Robley Splash that I've had for like 8 billion years. And it doesn't even say Sabian on it anymore. I'll say you can barely see Sabian on there, but that's an old Robley. The ride cymbal is it's one of Neil's cymbal. It's a Paragon. Or no. The Paragon's in my touring case. I'm sorry. This is a Robley AAX. A little bit hard to play from this angle. This is just a 18-inch, I think, 18-inch AA Rock Crash. Really good sound and cymbal there. Luckily, I'm tall and I have long arms. I can reach over there. And then I pulled the hats off because I wanted to show these. I'm going to come back to this camera. No, see, look, there again, Toscano wouldn't have screwed it up. I went to the wrong camera. He would have nailed it, wouldn't he? So these were my touring hats for a long time, but they sound great in the studio. These are 15-inch groove hats. And I'm a firm believer that you're not actually an official drummer. I don't care how long you've been playing, until you own a pair of 15-inch hi-hats, you're not in the club. You gotta have a pair. But you know what? I'm not touring with these ones anymore because they kind of live here in the studio. I have these guys that I love. Last time I went up and talked to Chris, this is just 14-inch medium HH hat. And then my bottom hat is a fusion hat with the holes in the bell, hand hammered, and man, those things are butter. The rest of the cymbals. And then everything else is are Weckels. So there's a Splash I got right there.
Evolution, yeah,
Evolution Splash, and then I've got an Evolution Ozone 18. I've got an Evolution. Just an 18 Crash. Oh no, I have an Explosion Crash in there as well, 19-inch Explosion, and then in the and I'm saying in there my flight cases there. I want to dig them all out, but I have a that's where the Paragon rides at, Neil's ride, and I use that cymbal because in the show now because it's a little bit more diverse for me. It's got that big bell and it just honks. It's not as bright as this bell. the raw bell, and I love this cymbal. It records so well. So that's why I'm using this cymbal in here, because it just records so well. The Neil cymbal, the bell's a little bit more honky, and the cymbal doesn't wash out, man. You can just ride on that thing like crazy, and it just, it sounds great. And it cuts really well with the band. And I'm playing, there's like 3,000 amps on stage, and a Hammond with a real Hammond with a Leslie that we tour with, and it's just loud as hell. And so I got to get to the band.
Well, that is so great. Well, the cymbals that you have absolutely cut through. And you were mentioning about Dave cymbals, not only the Evolution series, but his Legacy series.
Oh, those are great too. I don't have any, but oh yeah,
just beautiful cymbals. But what Sabian does, I mean, I've got some artisans here, the HHX. It's just amazing how the innovation that they have, that they give us all these options, and all of these cymbals are different. And when you hear them, how you blend them and what you do, it really it allows us to be as individual as we can, which it seems like what you've done in your kit. It's a very individual sound.
Well, that's what I like about those hats, using the fusion hat on the bottom. They're real quick, you can really pea soup them. They're really, really quick, but they kind of, if you're letting them wash together, it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sound.
Boy, that's fantastic. A couple of things before we wind down. Tell me about the Telly Award. Unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. So in 2009, I did, there it is right there.
Fantastic.
So 2009, and it has my name on it too. See right there. Anyway, 2009, I did my first book, School of Hard Rocks. I did a DVD that went along with it, and we won a Telly Award for it, myself and the video producer, Trey Solberg. Amazing. Matter of fact, he didn't produce them, but he filmed Weckel's Natural Evolution series. He worked on that. So guy's an amazing video guy. And we did it down in Costa Mesa, California. And it's two DVDs, and it came out really good. And Trey just did such an amazing job on it. And one night he calls me up and goes, "Hey, I got a surprise for you." And him and his wife threw this little dinner party, and we had won a Telly Award. So I was really excited about that. And that was for my first book, School of Hard Rocks.
Boy, how fantastic, man. In what you've done. We've got some people that are just completely. We've got Kevin Lehman, who is a wonderful player and teacher from Colorado, who is the president of the PAS division in Colorado. Thanks to Kevin for joining us.
He was on deck. Kevin and Kevin Stevens. We called it the Kevin Show. And they came on, and the funniest thing, this house right here, hey, Kevin, that is right up there in Deer Creek Canyon. Okay, there's a bunch of mansions there now, but he knew my cousin Betsy. And it was the weirdest thing. Like, after he was on the show, somehow Deer Creek Canyon got brought up, and him and my cousin knew each other. I'm like, oh my God, what a small world,
How fantastic. Well, Kevin's great. And we've got different people that have joined us in. Here's Jacob Sosa, great advice, Bart. Thanks for being an example of perseverance and making
Jacob's awesome.
Your instrument. Thank you so much, Jacob. It's just so great to see this incredible support that you have from all these different wonderful people that are joining in. But now tell me about the Drummer Education Connection.
Okay, so when the pandemic hit, talk about turning lemons into lemonade. I was out hiking with my wife one day before we moved into this house, and my phone rings, and it's everybody. I think the only drummer that's just this much less famous than Don Famularo is Chip Ritter, the guy that spins and juggles, and he was on David Letterman and stuff. He calls me up and he goes, "Hey man, I don't know what I want to do, but I want to do something." I go, okay. So he knew Rick Stojak down in San Diego. And so we kind of,
great educator. Rick is phenomenal.
Second to none. I wish I had one of his books over behind the drums. He's an amazing educator. So anyway, we get on a video call with the three of us. It was Chip, Rick, and myself. And we were like, well, what do we want to do? And what do we want to call it? And how are we going to do this? And we must have gone through 20 names. And then we got Jeremy Steinkohler up in the Bay Area, wrote an amazing book, Finding the Groove. And we just started spitballing ideas. And we were like, you know what? We're going to do a live stream thing, and we're going to talk about drummers who are teachers. Now, regrettably, we made our Facebook page a private group, and once you've done that, you can't make it unprivate. So any drummers out there who want to join and watch, just send an invitation to Drummers Education Connection on Facebook. We will approve it, and you're part of the team. And then we decided, well, let's just have other musicians come in because there's so much content. It's just all about music education and drumming education. We interview drummers. We've had a bass player on there, the great Jim Wooten. He came on and talked about, the relationship between the drummer and the bass player. Our friend, we've already said his name 100 times today, Joe Bergamini was a guest. And so here in front of the world, Dom, you are invited to please come on Drummers Education Connection. We stream every Tuesday from 11 to 12 Pacific Standard Time. We've built a great following. We have, I'm an Aquarian. All four of us are Aquarian artists, and Aquarian is the sponsor for the show. But you don't have to be an Aquarian artist. We would love to have you on the show, Dom.
I would be honored.
And I told the guys, I said, doggone it, when I'm live with Dom, I'm going to put him on the spot. So Dom, you are invited onto deck. We want you on the show.
I'm in. I'm totally in.
Awesome. Fantastic. So anyway, that's how it started. And really every Tuesday, I sit at my computer like I'm doing right now with my friend Dom Famularo, and we talk about drums and education and all things drumming. That's what we do.
So is this is the site here?
No. Here, let me find it. Here. Let me pull it up on my phone. Drummers Education Connection. Deck.
Drummers Education Connection. Drummer.
All right. Yes, sir. Right here. And there it is right there. And you're actually a member of it.
Oh, I am?
Yep. I think you are. I sent you an invitation. That's it. Connection. There's Chip spinning his sticks and Jeremy smiling and Rick smiling.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Now I got it. Be kind, because I love all the requirements that they have in there.
Yeah.
I agree to the group's rules. Bring it on. Great. I want people to do that.
Yeah, that's it. And matter of fact, we did a great let's see, last week, who did we have? From Drum Talk TV. Why can't I say his name? Dan. That's it.
Great.
We had him on it, and the week before that we did like one of the topics that we did 2 weeks ago. We either interview drummers or educators. We have topics, and the topic 2 weeks ago was impostor syndrome. And it's something that, okay, I got this Telly Award. Who the heck did I fool into getting this? And if you talk to every drummer in the world, I doubt you remember, but when I first started doing clinics, I was petrified. I mean, you're playing drums in a room full of drummers, right? And so I called you. I'm like, Dom, I need a lesson. And you had already helped me so much with my studio in Fullerton. And we talked, and you talked me through some stuff. And I remember saying, and I hear Weckel's name on this show a lot, so we've already talked about him. And you had said to me, what are you going to do? Out drum Weckel? And so I was in this clinic, and you helped me so much. And so anyway, I lost my train of thought there a little bit, but yeah, that's what we do on deck is, imposter syndrome. I was scared because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go play drums. Who am I fooling? But my clinics now, they go great. And I stay within my lane, and I play, and I learn so much from you about that. And I've been really lucky. I've studied with some of the greatest drummers in the world. I've studied with Rob Heskett at Crescendo Music, Rick Latham, Greg Bissonette, Ralph Humphrey. Just so many great drummers. And I've learned so much. Yeah, and you and it's been really, really, really a great journey and a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful experience. To be part of Sabian Education Network and just be part, just be one of the guys, I don't have to be the best drummer. I'm never going to be the best drummer in the room. No, but I'm a drummer and I'm here and I love it. I love it.
Boy, good for you, Bart. I always say I'm trying to be the best Dom Famularo I can be, and that's a challenge.
Oh, dude, tell me about it. My God, Well, I'm out of bed and I'm breathing today. What can I accomplish?
Well, it really is fantastic, Bart, to have you here. I want everyone to make a note of bartrobley.com. Go to his website, contact Bart, any lessons you want, or getting involved with the Drummer Education Connection. Everybody, out there, join that, be involved with that. It's more levels of inspiration. The Sabian Education Network is an incredible, positive force of bringing all these teachers together, and more of these communications like what Drummer Education Connection has. More of that can only help the drumming community move around and get closer and lift the level of great education.
Right. And I, one of the words that we all say, and I always looked, I think a lot of drummers out there, Dom Famularo is the due north of what you want to do as far
Right.
as being an educator. I mean, you're a force to be reckoned with, and you've inspired so many people. And we use that word inspiration. And I want to throw this out there because I think, I joke around about paradiddles, right, left, right, right. Oh, I messed up, but the fact of the matter is it's not easy. It's this, here they are. Go ahead, give it a shot.
Yeah.
It's not easy,
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
So I think the inspiration has to be there, and the inspiration's everywhere. All you got to do is go to YouTube and go 5-year-old drummer, poof, you're inspired. But it's the determination. It's the determination that gets you behind the kit. It's the determination that makes you pick up the sticks and hit the pad. It's the determination that got me to drive away from there and get an old station wagon and come out here. And I think when you pick up the inspiration and then you get the determination to sit down and do the work, you're going to see results. You will. No matter what they are, you're going to see the results. And even if you are just a great drummer, hey man, that's enough. You love doing it. Go for it.
Boy, this is just great advice, Bart. It really is. You are an inspiration. You've got a clear vision of what you're reaching for. You have people that are following you, that are believers. And all of this is extremely healthy for the music industry, especially in the drumming industry. We need that kind of connection and that kind of energy, which you do so well. Well, Sabian loves you, and there's so many people here. I think I can say it no better than Andy Weiss has said, bravo.
Bravo. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
It really is that great, Bart, to have you along the way. Well, thank you so much. Good luck with your new studio there. Get on the road and traveling. And if at all you get to the New York area, give me a call. I want to come out and hear you play.
Oh, we were supposed to play the year of the pandemic. There's a casino, and I did. I reached out to you. I said, hey, we're playing at this. I don't remember the name of it. And you're like, oh, just across. I'll take a ferry ride over, because I was trying to schedule. I wanted to come out to the shed and take a lesson.
That's the casino in Connecticut. Was that Mohegan Sun or something like that?
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one. And we were supposed to play out there, and it got canceled. Because and it would have worked out too, because we were going to play there, and we had a day off before we traveled back, because and I was going to come over and take a lesson at the Wisdom Woodshed. And
it's an hour ferry ride from the North Shore of Long Island to Connecticut. The casino's right there, man. Fantastic. Keep me posted when you're there.
I will.
I'm going to get your tail in the studio so we can have some more fun. We'll do another one of these live sessions for the Sabian Education Network again, for sure, in the future. Maybe we'll do some stuff on teaching where we'll have you teach a couple lessons and show some stuff that way.
I would love to. I have this whole thing that I've been, we only have an hour. I did all these recordings of re-records with legendary record producer Michael Blum. And my whole clinic is on transcribing, learning songs note perfect, and recording them just to click. No other musician. So when I say cut to click, that's what you're doing. I have a whole clinic on that. I would love to do it. I would love to do that. I'm
going to talk with Joe Bergamini. I'm going to bend his ear. We're going to make that happen for sure in the future. We'll make it exciting in 2022. We're already here in this new world. Listen, we're already in the second month of 2022. It's amazing. Flying by already. So we got to keep this all going and get some more stuff. Everyone that listened, thank you so much. For everyone that joined us from all around the world, you guys have been absolutely fantastic. Bart, thank you again. Thank you, Sabian Education Network. Bart, stay safe, and we'll see you around real soon, all right?
I got to get back to work. I'm going to be on Dom's show. I got to go.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank